We're going to have some laughs. We're definitely going to get some great stories out of this guy. So, Johnny Welsh is my guest today. He is a professional bartender in Frisco, Colorado, but that does not define this man. He is also a traveler and he is an author. So he's taken the many things he's observed over the years as a bartender, and he's made books, and he's a funny man because he writes funny books. And so it is a pleasure to have you, Johnny, on with me. I really appreciate you coming on. And so his first time story is going to start with the major first decision that he had to make in his life. So that is your cue. Tell us all about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ann. Thanks for having me. This is amazing. I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, the first major decision I had to make was when I graduated from Syracuse University. I had applied to be a doctor of chiropractic at Seneca Falls, which is in upstate New York. And I also applied for a program to live in Tuscany, Italy, in the foothills right near Siena and Florence, to go pretty much stay in a 12th century castle and help them create more of a structured internship while also working in vineyards, olive groves, organic farming, you name it. It was like, wow, should I go be a doctor or go run in the wind in Italy? You know, I was like 23 years old. I'm terrified that I'm going to make a bad decision by not being a doctor and then not being able to go back to it. So I chose the life of the wanderer and the traveler, and I have not looked back since.
All right. Well, take us back a little bit. So one, what was the motivation to apply to both? Like what drove you to go ahead and put your, throw your hat in both rings?
Oh, I was pre-med. So that was the whole chiropractic leg of that journey. And all my electives that I had were Italian language, literature, and culture classes. So my degree actually is in Italian language, literature, and culture. So I fit the protocol what this Castle Foundation was looking for to help create this internship. And I mean, in today's world, the place is called Spannocchia. I can spell it Spannocchia. And it is magical what they have created there as far as a structured internship, what you can learn from culinary arts to organic farming, sustainable living. There's a butcher apprentice program. There's foreign language immersion. It's everything. It's like you're in the middle of nowhere. There's all dirt roads. You're kind of removed from technology somewhat. There's still a Wi-Fi room, but man, you get a lot of reading and writing done. That's where I actually started my writing career. I was so inspired when I got there. I don't know what hit me, but I couldn't stop writing fiction, nonfiction, song lyrics, poetry. I mean, you name it. And I don't know if it was the rolling hills of Tuscany or that fine red wine that I was having when I was out there, but something got me good.
So writing was not something you were doing before you even got there then. Was it something that was even like on your radar that you wanted to do more of?
I dabbled a little bit before I had arrived at the castle. Nothing was really solid. I never really finished anything. It was just a bunch of random thoughts, ideas for stories, ideas for books, movies, what have you. So I started dabbling that summer. And then when I got there was really no one else there but me because I got there in the middle of winter. There was one other intern for the time being. The rest of them showed up, I think it was March and April for the spring and summer seasons. So I was pretty much by myself. I mean, I had there was a little library off one of the little chambers of the castle. I mean, the walls were like 3 feet thick. It was chilly in there, but they had a cool selection of books and a nice fireplace. So I was going out and hiking into the woods, grabbing like sticks and branches and firewood, making a fire and reading and writing. And a funny story was I forgot my camera. So I had emailed my mom to send the camera. And we're not, well-versed in international shipping back then. So she just said that whatever, method she thought was going to get there at a reasonable price. Well, it turns out it comes by boat. So 45 days later, the camera arrives. But in the meantime, on that same bookshelf in that little library, I found a sketch pad. And I never took any lessons in drawing or sketching, but I always wanted to. was always fun for me. So I began sketching all the vistas and the views that I wanted to remember about this place. And then when the camera arrived, I didn't go back and take the pictures. I just kept my sketches.
Oh man, that is awesome. That's so great. Okay, but
Yeah.
I want to take you back to, I want to go back a little bit to the decision making process. So how did you even make the decision? Did you talk to friends and family? What scale system were you using to make the decision? Because that is a huge major decision, which turned out great, but how did you actually make it?
And I did talk to a lot of friends and family members about it. I kind of knew what I wanted to do to really polish off the degree that I had with the Italian language and further my language skills at that point. And my friends were all like, you know what, go. You should go to Italy. Go run through Tuscany if you want to. And my dad's a doctor, so he kind of had that little spot in his heart that maybe I'd be a doctor as well. But then again, he has a soft spot as well for the Italian heritage and the old world. And my mom's 100% Italian, not from Italy, but that's her heritage. So she was like, I'd already been there prior, so it was an easier decision to make because I had seen what it was like over there, and the culture, and the people, and just the whole adventure of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, follow your heart, right? Go with the adventure. Can always go back to the steady
I
stuff.
did.
And then that's
Sure.
always
Yeah.
there waiting.
Yeah.
But obviously you came back. Well, now, so how long were you there?
I was there for 6 months the first time, and I've gone back to that same place. I'd say about maybe 4 or 5 different times to help out
Okay.
still.
Yeah. Awesome. So you
Yeah.
had this amazing time there. You got in touch with drawing, with writing. So you come back and
Mhm.
what happens then?
I came back to America, and my brother had moved to Colorado, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" I go, "No, I just got off the plane. I'm back, hanging out at mom and dad's house for a little bit." He's like, "Well, I got a place for you to stay. I've got jobs lined up. I need your help." And so I packed my car, and then I kept driving until I saw mountains. I had never been out west, and I've always wanted to check it out. And I remember driving across country, and there was one point coming through like South Dakota, these back roads. That's all because I like to take back roads and use paper maps. And I had to turn the car around because there was a herd of buffalo so thick that the traffic had to stop and nobody could continue on. You're not going to move a whole herd. They're huge, and they're free roaming through this state park. So I'm like, you know what? I kind of wanted that to happen. That's awesome. I go, this is like the Wild West, just everything, just the beautiful mountains, the hills, the wildlife. It was everything I wanted to see, and it happened for me.
Oh man, that's beautiful. That's awesome. That's following your heart and going after adventure, and it just opens a world up. Okay, so that was not on our story telling.
I can
Curious
want
about
tangents.
yeah. No, I'm gonna ask more questions. Just get very curious about my
Sure,
guest.
sure.
So what about your first book? What inspired you to write your first book and how did that go?
Well, after I got back from Italy, I was writing off and on for over a decade, and I continued to do that, my practice of writing. And I had a couple of things that were getting close to having a really good formation for a book. And then it was 2012 actually in Colorado, and they decided to legalize cannabis. And as a bartender, people kept coming in and asking me, they wanted to know what's it like to live in the very first state that got legalized. It was the out-of-state guests, tourists, and visitors, and it was not what I expected. They were well-to-do, well-spoken, older couples. They'd sit down and go, we're curious. And they would kind of whisper and look both ways and ask for the dispensary. I go, it's legal now. I get it because of the stigma of it. And I serve booze for a living. The cannabis isn't really on my radar anymore. But, I studied a lot about it, and I observed a lot when it was happening. And I captured the first few years of legalization, the emotions, the roller coaster ride, the whole vote. I got the sheriff's input. And then I interviewed a lot of companies that were popping up because of that industry, because that was fascinating to learn where they came from, their background, what they hope to do. So it was really a cool story to capture at that time. And that I pushed everything else aside because this was a hot topic. It came up almost on a nightly basis. And everyone at the bar would chime in. It's more of a restaurant. Everyone, they had all raised their hand and said, "Oh, I had an experience. I had an experience." Was one guy, well, he was worth about couple $1 million sitting there. He's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "I bought pot stocks." So everyone had a story kind of tell about it, and in a respectful, educated kind of a way. So I was like, "Wow, man, what an opportunity! No one is capturing this story right now." Because I looked around and researched it. I go, "This is an unprecedented time in history." So I captured that story, and it came out, and it's done very well.
Oh man, that's awesome. You really saw the opportunities. You saw the dialogue, the conversation was
Yeah,
happening, and you jumped on it. Way to
yeah,
go, man. Well, you know what? It's one thing about being open-minded and, being
yeah,
aware of what's happening and how life is unfolding and capturing it
yeah,
is people are interested in that. So I love it. Okay,
yeah.
so we're gonna move on and we're gonna play the first time lightning round. And the first one, I
Oh,
I just thought about maybe I'll change the first one, but I'm going to keep it because I'm going to tell you why I can't. And you're kind of already told the story, but we'll get to that. So the way it works for everybody that's watching. So I'm going to ask Johnny some questions. If he's done it before, he's going to say swipe up, same as what you would do on the app. If he's never done it, not interested, it's left. And then if he has never done it, interested in doing it, then it's right. So because Johnny is a author, my first two are related to books or to the arts. And he already answered the first one. But so my first one, I figured because you're a writer, it made me wonder if you actually also, sketch, which you do. So my first one is take a
yeah.
drawing class.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
Swipe right.
swipe up.
I've never
You've
had a
done.
drawing
Oh, you
class, but
never
I
had drawing
would.
class. You would. Okay.
No, I
So you
have sketched, but I've never been trained formally.
And you would do it. You would take a
Yes.
formal class. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a right. Donate books.
Swipe up. I have done
But
that already.
all right, awesome. Okay, so this is the one I was telling you. You seem like the kind of guy that would answer this.
Okay.
Go skinny dipping.
Swipe up.
Swipe up.
I've done that before. Yeah. It has to be warm water though. The cold water is it's not very
You're
flattering.
not in for that one. All right. Are you willing to share your story, your first time going skinny dipping?
I can. It was on the East Coast in southern New Jersey, and oh god, this is.
How did the water get hot there? Was it in the pool?
It was summer. It was summertime. Oh man, and this is actually it's been 7 years, so I can talk about it because I can probably get in trouble for jumping off this bridge. We would all hop off this bridge. Oh, and we decided to do it naked one time. And we all hopped off. It was a big drop, like 30, 40 feet, and you hit the water. And if you didn't land actually perfectly vertical, you'd get some water in some places you weren't expecting. That is the first time. You asked.
Oh,
You asked.
so you were illegally jumping off a bridge naked, just so what we're clear.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Hey, again, you are fully living life. Okay, ride on an elephant.
Swipe left. I
Left.
have not, and I'm not interested.
Okay. Is it because, like, I'm torn about? I've never done it, and I'm torn about it too, just because I don't think it's good for
I'd like
the
to see them in
elephants.
the wild. I'd love to see
Yeah.
them. I don't think I would like, get on one because I know what they go through to have that happen.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too. Okay, eat German food.
Swipe up.
Like, was it in Germany or back here in the States?
It was in Germany. It was in Oktoberfest in
All
Munich,
right.
Germany, when I was studying in Italy because I went to school there as well. So we took a ride up for Oktoberfest and went straight to the Hofbrauhaus and had some beers and had some food. Absolutely, it was awesome.
Yeah, I was sure that was a blast. Awesome.
Yeah.
Because you are in Colorado, I added this one. Go ice climbing.
I have not. I'd say swipe left on that one.
Really?
I
Okay.
wouldn't. Yeah,
Not your
I
thing?
do rock climbing. Yeah, I'd have to have a guide, but
Oh, well, I mean, yeah,
yeah.
I forget the town now in Colorado that's pretty famous. Like it's the place to go ice climbing, and of course, you have guides and people helping you out. So, when I was
Actually, I guess I would do it.
yeah, all right,
Yeah,
talk you into it.
yeah.
When
I'll
I
do
was living
anything.
Yeah, when I was living in Grand Junction, I really wanted to go I can't remember the town's name, but I really wanted to go do it, but my car that I was driving at the time was a BMW, and it was rear wheel drive,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it didn't matter if you put snow tires on that bad boy,
Oh,
it was not going up in the mountains, so I missed out on that, and then I missed out going when I was back in Europe, so it's still on my list. Okay.
yeah.
Um, get a speeding ticket.
Swipe up.
How
I've
old were
had one.
you? How old were you when you got your first one?
19.
All right. Started early. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Play badminton.
Swipe left.
Really? You've never played badminton and you wouldn't.
Oh no! Wait a minute. Yeah, I have. I have.
Okay, so swipe up.
I had the Copper Mountain one time. Yeah, I have done that.
Okay. All
It
right.
was a happy hour, so I don't remember very much.
Okay. Stained glass.
Have not done that. Yes, I would.
Okay, swipe right. Get a spray
Yes.
on tan.
Swipe up. I've had that done before.
What was the occasion?
I was competing in fitness competitions, so
Hey, awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, that's like you get quite a few layers of
yeah, you
spray
do, yeah.
tan for that. Oh,
Actually, I think I placed in the top 10 on that. It was right here in Colorado at a guy who lived in Golden, Colorado named Bill Phillips. He did the Body for Life challenge, so I entered that.
that's awesome. Good for
Yeah, it was
you.
fun. Yeah.
Yay, that's awesome. I became Louisiana's first women's physique winner. So
Oh wow.
when the category opened up and I competed and I won and yeah, it was yeah, and this getting the spray on tan
Yeah.
it was very interesting. Like I've never been so dark in my life. So,
Yeah. It smells funny.
yeah, and then no matter like the whole drying and trying to go to bed and not make a mess out of the sheets, it's kind of impossible. And
They're all
forget about
brown.
if you start sweating and then you get all blotchy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I have to say, prepping for my first show was very eye opening. I just didn't realize
yeah.
just how much went into it. That's just insane,
Sure.
crazy. All
Yeah.
right. Oh, excellent. Okay, so next question is the prompt of the day. So, which I guess, well, so the prompt of the day is your first time moving out. So, how old were you and where did you go?
Like moved out of my parents' house.
Yeah.
Was when I went to college. I stayed up in Syracuse, but then after I graduated, my first time actually really moving away was when I went to Italy.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, you talked a little bit about this before we got on. So, I definitely want to hear more about it. So, how how have you been making the best out of what's happening with the COVID-19 pandemic? And, and what new thing have you found yourself doing?
Well, it has not. I mean, I thought it was going to be easier than it was because I like to spend some alone time, and I like being in my house until you tell me that I have to be. So, um, I was helping a gentleman. So the first thing I did was my first time publishing someone else's book, and it's my fiance's grandfather. He's a former Top Gun Air Force pilot, and he just turned 88 a few days ago on March 29th. And he wanted to have his first novel published before his 88th birthday. So we started back in October with his manuscript, and he asked me to help fill in the blanks and help get the editing done, and then the interior layout, and then the front cover design, back cover design. You choose the paper, you choose the font, and it all came together. I hired some really, really good people. I'm very fortunate to have these people that I can work with down in Denver. They did a great job, and it just came out last week before his birthday, and it shot off #1 in new releases. Actually, I have a little picture of it for you. Want to see? It's
Yay.
a fiction novel called The Showdown at San Benito. That little line is the proof. That's all that is. It's a proof.
Yeah.
But we voted on this on Facebook. We had a lot of votes, a lot of input, and it just, I mean, it came out. It's a really cool story about 1866 and the rebuilding of the South after the Civil War. And these guys moved down to Texas, and there's gambling and gunfights and prostitution and murder and mayhem. It's actually a really cool story.
Man, I think that is so awesome because it's a
Yeah.
first time for you, first time
Yeah.
publishing somebody else's book. But then to have an 88-year-old
88.
man publishing his
Yeah.
first book
Yeah.
that's so awesome. You're never too old to do something for the first
No.
time or to do that thing you've been putting off. And so
Yeah.
how long did he work on that book? How long did it take him to write it?
Off and on 20 years he's been working on this novel, and he's always wanted to have time to finish it. And he just sold his farm he lived on for 50 years, and now they're in a retirement home, and now he has the time, but he says his mind doesn't concentrate like it used to. So he asked me to help him, and I said, sir, it would be an honor to help you. And, you served our country. I want to help you get this book published. And we did. And it was a great experience. And to have him show the world that you can do that at age 88, I think is just very inspiring. The guy, he's a character, by the way. He's quite the comical person as well. So, and we got along great, and things have been going awesome. We just hired someone to do the audiobook version, which is going to be coming out soon. So it's been a trip, been a journey.
Oh man, yay, that's awesome. All right, so before I let you go, I have to tell. So when Johnny came on, I scanned his background and I saw I saw a bottle of ketchup, and I was like, "What is up?" I barely said hello to him, and I'm like, "What's up with the, the ketchup bottle?" So
Yeah.
went and grabbed it and showed it to me. So if you can show everyone your ketchup bottle.
I sure will. It's one of my bartending tricks because we serve a lot of dinners at the bar. It was actually sitting right back here on my shelf, and she noticed it. She goes, "What's that ketchup?" I go, "Well, it's just my little bottle of ketchup." And I rigged it up so that when you squeeze it, the ketchup comes out, so I can scare the guests all the time. So I have to keep myself entertained sometimes behind the bar. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. That's great. All right, Johnny. Thank you for joining me. I really had a blast.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ann. It's been an honor. Thank you. Appreciate it.